Welcome Rabbi Amit, Professor Amit, Rabbi Amit, Harav Amit, and we're very happy that you came again. So, how do you know that you enjoyed the first time? You're coming back, and Shkoyach Vayoyli, and when you start, and make sure that everyone's question should be heard, but it needs to be with a mahalach. In the aanvragen will give me staat that we can aanvragen. So, okay, let's start.
Okay, I'll speak in English. You can talk to me in Yiddish, but I don't promise to answer. Okay, here is my big thesis that I'm going to try to sell to you today, and it's actually it's not a radical thesis. It's actually a very conservative thesis. The conservative thesis is we like to think of Chazal, or some people like to think of Chazal as being very fast and loose with the Torah. That they have this power, they have this koyach to change the Torah any way they see fit. One of the tools we talk about a lot is Midrash. I have a thesis on that. We're not going to talk about that today unless you make me. And the other way they have to change the Torah, and this is no Chiddush of mine, right? Rambam writes it. Everyone writes it. There's Gezeres and Techanas. They can make different things happen to the Torah and change it around at their will. That's the story that we like to tell. I actually think that is an incorrect story. I think they're actually...
Sorry, when you say we, who's we?
Chokrim.
The Chokrim, but not just the Chokrim. This is the story that I grew up with. Okay, I grew up in like a modern Orthodox family in Israel, right? So this is my story. Chazal are very powerful, so powerful that they can make the Torah, mold it and shape it according to their will. And this is definitely the story that you would read in guidebooks or handbooks to rabbinic studies in the academy. Is it wrong? I think it's wrong. Is it your story? I don't know. We can talk about it, whether or not this is the story that you find compelling. But what I want to do is I want to look at just two sources in Chazal that I think are responding to the same passage in Aristotle, and to the same idea voiced by Aristotle. Okay, and these are two very extreme sources in Chazal. And after we see those, and we see Aristotle, and we talk about that for a little bit, what I want to say is most of the time, most of the sources in Chazal about Takana are actually neither here nor there. They're somewhere in the middle, and Chazal actually most of the time don't really touch the Torah at all. Okay, this is my story. This is what I'm going to try to sell today. We'll see if it works. The Mishnah in Shvis is right. The whole chapter is about Shmitat Ksafim. There's 10 chapters in Shvis, 9 chapters about Shmitat Karka, and 1 chapter about Shmitat Ksafim. And the Mishnah has a list of all sorts of things that are not Mishamet, right? Where Shmitat Ksafim does not apply to them. As a footnote, I will tell you all of these things are subject to ribis. So why are they subject to ribis but not to Shmitat Ksafim? That's a chapter of my dissertation. We're not going to talk about that today. האונס והמפתה והמוציא שם רע וכל מעשה בית דין אינן משמיטין. המלווה על המשכון והמוסר שטרותיו לבית דין אינן משמיטין. Why? Because it belongs to Beis Din. And then it's not אשר יהיה לך את אחיך. Right? It belongs to Beis Din. It's not your achichas.
Or it's kagavui.
Either that or that, yes. Prusbul. What's that? What is the meaning of the word?
It's Rishonim.
The Gemara has a folk etymology academics have a bunch of other folk etymologies. We'll talk about what it means. Prosbol eino meshamet. And then the Mishnah goes on a tangent. זה אחד מן הדברים שהתקין הלל הזקן, שראה שנמנעו העם מללוות זה את זה. ועוברים על מה שכתוב בתורה, שנאמר, ישמר לך, פן יהיה דבר עם לבבך בליעה לאמור, וגומר, התקין הלל פרוסבול. זהו גופו של פרוסבול. מוסר אני לכם איש פלוני ופלוני והדיינים שבמקום פלוני, what's the relationship between those two? Unclear. שכל חוב שיש לי שהגבנו כל זמן שארצה. והדיינים חותמים מלמטה או העדים. זהו גופו של פרוסבול tells us the meaning of the word פרוסבול. Okay, מוסר אני in Greek is prosbalo.
What is it?
Prosbalo. That's the verb.
What is each one? Oh, there's one word?
One word, prosbalo. I am
I
forward giving, forward throwing. Okay, that's moser ani. Prosbalo. That's the present form. Prosbalein, that's the infinitive form. And we know that there is a kind of star used in Egypt called the prosbole. Okay, prosbole. We don't have a board, right? But it has nothing to do with the bully, the city council.
Doesn't mean that?
Doesn't mean the stamp.
Okay, that's my theory.
Prosbole is just the noun form of the verb prosbalo. Okay?
Nothing to do with city council that is Miskra and Chazal.
Nothing to do with city council that is mentioned in Chazal called the bule. Nothing to do with the city council mentioned in, if you read like a handbook about ancient Greece, the first thing they'll tell you is the city was run by a body of people called the bule. And the important people in the town were called the bulotai. That's the post bole ubote in the Gemara. But all that is irrelevant, okay? That is not the correct etymology. The correct etymology is moser ani. The Mishnah tells you exactly what prosbol means. Prosbol means moser ani.
You're welcome
just
to
in
use it
Greek.
if you want.
Oh, thank you. Right, so just so we can clear this up, I'll use this is in Latin letters so we can all read it, right? There is a boule, long E. Boule, okay, that's a city council. That's the boli. Okay, the post boli. This is not what we're talking about. We are talking about pros bole. Not u, but pros bole means moser ani. Okay, and this is the post bole. We know from studies of the legal system in Egypt where the climate was dry, and so we have a lot.
This is your Kiddush?
A lot. This is not my Kiddush. I'll tell you whose Kiddush it is in a minute. There was a lot. This is the Kiddush of the son of Louis Ginsburg, who was an economist, Eli Ginsburg, who wrote an article on prosbul, and he figured out the prosbul was moser ani.
How can really say that it means the first definition?
Because they compare.
Some chokrim say it means the first one. David Henschke famously said it meant the first
Because
one.
it compares Mesiris Shrois of Lebez, and meaning you're getting it's like notarized that the Shtachov is a true Shtachov, which
Wait,
that's a similarity.
Yes, true.
That's where the mistake came from.
Yes. But the mistake is it has nothing to do etymologically,
Yeah.
right? The word.
Etymologically doesn't have to do,
Yes.
but technically
Oh,
does.
it's moserani. Who am I mosering to? Right? Who am I?
It's
Who
just
am
a
I giving
watered
this
down
over to?
version of Moses Shrois of Lebez. Prusbul is a watered down version.
Wait, we'll get to that. Prusbul is a legal formula in Greek law in Egypt.
Serving what purpose?
It is part of the process by which you execute your loans before you are allowed to walk
collect.
into someone's house
to
and take their TV and take their fridge
But
and
to
take their
verify.
car for not paying their loans. You have to file your loan with the bestin in the town.
Judgment.
And they verify it.
and
they make a
recording.
judgment.
And
Record it?
Not
Yes.
recording, no.
More than
Judgment.
judgment. No, they verify that it's a true document.
No, that's a that's a different thing. Judgment.
you need to get the court to approve your collecting of the loan. and without that, you cannot collect on the loan. That's the prosbul in Greek law.
So what are you giving over? What
You're
is-
giving over your loan to the Bestin, to the city council, and they
I think it's more than
But they don't own it
You're giving
anymore.
over your actual
they
documents
don't own it.
No,
They
no, no.
authorize you to collect
on it.
Okay, and there's a procedure. Okay, there's a procedure to make sure people don't go around taking things from other people's houses and
That's
claiming
not- that's
their
not-
own
that's
money.
not-
Over
United
the
States.
Deen
Different
and
than the
Afshai.
principle of
They don't
Chazal.
over the Deen and
Wait.
Afshai. It has
Wait.
to be a system.
Okay, this is different than the prosbul of Shvis.
Yeah.
What's the prosbul of Shvis? Prosbul of Shvis is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Prosbul of Shvis is
A young person.
yes. The prosbul of Shvis is there's a mitzvah in the Torah, and you take a piece of paper, and you write words on the paper, and you sign it, and somehow that mitzvah goes away. Okay, that's the prosbul of Shvis, or that's the prosbul the way we do it today. Right, every 7 years. There's a pile of papers on Bima and Shul, on Erev Rosh Hashanah, on both ends of the Shemitah, just to make sure. You fill it out, you give it to someone at the Shul, and then you keep going as if that mitzvah had never been written in the Torah. You just keep walking. Right? Why? Okay, and this is, I'd like you to file this away, put this in your back pocket, and take it out in about 15 minutes. Why? Because Hillel saw something. He saw something that somehow made him believe that it would be better for the mitzvah to go away. And so he did something to make the mitzvah go away. Okay? What did he see? He saw that there was another mitzvah that was in tension with the first mitzvah. Who says that these two mitzvahs are in tension? The Torah says. Right? Torah says, once every 7 years, make all the loans go away. Now I know, says Moshe Rabbeinu, right? This will be a problem for you. You will not like this.
But nonetheless,
Nonetheless, I'm telling you to do it. Hillel saw that what Moshe Rabbeinu emet, unevuato emet, people in fact did not want to, right? He was really good at figuring out the future. So what did Hillel do? He made one mitzvah go away and kept the other mitzvah. Okay, he
so
saw...
why did he choose that over that? I would prefer the other one.
You're the borrower.
Hillel did what he did. I think this is a very late version of Hillel's Takana, and we'll see in a minute how. There's a bunch of Mishnayos that make this reading of Mishnah Shvis really, really difficult. Like the Mishnah in Ksubis. מוציא הגט ואין עמו כתובה, גובה כתובתה. כתובה ואין עמה גט, היא אומרת עבד גיתי, והוא אומר עבד שוברי. וכן, בעל חוב שהוציא שטר חוב ואין עמו פרוסבול, הרי אלו לא ייפרעו. So we have these two cases that seem to be, right, the Mishnah says they're the same. A woman with a get with no ketubah, and a Baal Chov with a Shtar Chov with no prosbul. Now, if you look it up in Rashi, right, he says, well, it's at the end of Shemitah. Okay, fine. If it's Shemitah, if it's a Shemitah thing, this is a very rare case. This happens once every 7 years, and it's all based on this takana of Hillel. Okay, but maybe we can keep going with this maybe until we get to Moed Katan. In Moed Katan we read Ve'elu kotvim b'moed kiddushay nashim gitin v'shovarim dayatike matana u'posbulim. Why? Because it's davar aved. Now please someone explain to me how a prosbul on Chol HaMoed is davar aved.
If the loan was done then,
If the loan was done then, it's
Before
either
time.
mishamet at the beginning of the year
or then.
or it's mishamet at the end of the year, right? But you can definitely wait for
I think not.
one kaftet elul or the other.
I think not. I think it had to be done. I think that was. It had to be done at the same time. It had to be
That's
part
your
of the loan
answer.
process.
I mean, we don't do it that way now.
No, we don't.
Right?
So what
The
do you
Rishonim twist themselves in a bunch of knots to explain how this is true.
It's like Al Menashel Teshmitani Shaviyat. So it was done.
No, you can. There are ways to explain this, okay? But I think the pshat way to explain this is that it's not the prusbul for
It's a
Shemitah,
different thing.
it's the prusbul for executing alone.
Like Moshe Shtrois of the Bezin.
It's a prusbul, it's a document that you need to produce before you
The
can
original
execute
prusbul meaning.
on your shtarchov.
And that's a Dover
So
Hall.
it's
The
not,
Greek
so
word.
it's not the
That's a
Big time.
davar of it.
Right, that's what I
it's not the
said.
a big
prusbul
time,
from
though.
Shvi'is.
It's not the
That's running
prusbul.
off with his
We'll
stuff,
get to
yeah.
Shvi'is, but we'll get back to
It's not
Shvi'is in
the
a minute.
prusbul from Shvi'is, it's a different
It's a separate
Yes.
prusbul.
What's the meaning of this prusbul?
No,
Well,
like,
I'll tell you in a minute.
Stay
Get
governor
a judgment
prusbul.
from
There's
court.
two
You
prusbuls
go
now
grab
enough.
asses with the sheriff.
This is
Yeah.
prusbul.
Get along right away.
No.
No, that's
Well,
assuming
talk
law
about
is
it.
given.
So, if we think about it this way, right? In Mishnah Ksubis, we have prusbul.
For Shemitah.
No,
No.
in Mishnah Ksubis we have
Ksubis,
prusbul.
alright.
We need a document, right? A document that shows that this is a real shtarchov, and the best didn't authorize me to collect on it. And in Moed Katan it's davar aved because it's the shtarchov, and the best didn't authorize me to collect on it. And in Mishnah Gittin, the short version of Hillel's takana, Hillel hitkin prusbul mipnei tikun ha'olam. Why is it tikun ha'olam? To have a document to make sure that you can't just walk into people's houses and take away their TVs.
Isn't this
Because
called
the Torah-
Because
has
it's a
you.
good idea, right? That you shouldn't be able to walk into people's houses and take their electronics, right? Without
Isn't this
somebody.
called,
One second.
Like somebody authorizing it.
This is adrachta.
Yes, it's similar to shtar adrachta, right? You need some kind of
System.
control, some kind of
Checks and balances.
No, some kind of authorization for you to execute on a debt. That
collect.
explains all the Mishnayos except for Mishnah Shvi'is.
Right, but that's called in Chazal adrachta.
Fine,
It's not
yes,
called prusbul,
yes,
it's not
yes,
called
yes.
prusbul.
It's called, in the Bible, it's called the Drachta.
You say
So-
Yerushalmi, it's
So
called-
which prusbul came
How is
first?
it called in Shammai? Prusbul?
So they don't use
don't use it.
They don't use it. The meaning of the takana, okay? Hillel itkin la prusbul mipnei tikuna olam. What they're saying is, once upon a time, we didn't have this prosbole moser ani. We didn't do it. Who invented it? Some Gentile in Egypt? Some Greek-speaking weirdo? No. This is our thing. This is our invention. Who invented it? Hillel invented it.
And
Hillel
why did he
itkin la
name it?
prusbul
And what
mipnei
came
tikuna
first?
olam.
What came
But it was,
first?
This came first. Gittin came first.
It's going to come back to Shvi'is. Okay.
Then what happened? Okay? Somebody saw Pruzbul Eino Meshamet and combined it with Hillel Hitkin La Pruzbul and made
A Mishnah.
a story. What is the story? Pruzbul is not about collecting debts. Pruzbul is a loophole
For Shemitah.
for Shemitah. Okay? Now this is, if we think about it that way, what we see is that we see a later development, a commentary on two Mishnahs together, one second, that makes a very interesting but explosive claim. The explosive claim is, if you're smart enough, strong enough, Chazal, right? You can make mitzvahs from the Torah go away all just like that.
And it wasn't Hillel's intention ever.
It wasn't Hillel,
It wasn't
right?
Hillel.
If Hillel did anything, Hillel hitkin prusbul. Yes.
But what the Mishnah that says that if you have a prosbul, then it's not mashamet. It's irrelevant.
Right.
So that's
Yes.
a new law, and you don't need to make a prosbul. If you have a chav
Right.
that you already executed at Bezin, then the chav is
Yes.
not mashamet.
That's all the Mishnah says. That is correct. And then there is a later expansion in the Mishnah that explains how this prusbul is a takana of Hillel, but how this takana works, again, I'm pull out of your back pocket. Hillel saw a problem and solved it by making a mitzvah go away.
They don't
Okay.
have to go with
I have a-
anything.
I have
Now
a-
it's-
So then, how is prosbul different than a moiser l'shtrois of the Bezin?
I don't think it's different.
Then why does it Mishnah say
I
it
don't know
twice?
why it says it twice, but I think it's because
Maybe they'll
of
show
the.
you.
You can make Mishnah Gimel go away,
Right.
and you would have it
Yeah,
would make
but
sense.
the Mishnah Gimel is here.
Yes, Moser Shtarosav and Prusbul are, I think,
So
exactly the same.
According to some Rishonim, we can say it clearly.
But you have, because you have Hillel Hitkin Prusbul,
No,
you want the
okay, that's a
Lashon.
raya that what he's saying is
Yeah.
right, because you already
I
had Moses
understand what
Torah
they-
Labor.
yeah, well, Prisbul means
Why-
that.
why-
According to him, Prisbul means that.
Prusbul means
but
Moshe
here it was
Torah.
brought in for another reason. Like
It's a difference. You have a list of things that are not Meshamet, and then you have another source that says one of those things in a more expanded way with a different language. That happens quite
Should
a
have
lot.
called it than originally Prisbul.
Why do I not want to call it Prisbul? Because I'm the Mishnah, and the Mishnah tries a lot to use Hebrew and not
But
Greek.
everywhere else it calls it Prisbul.
In other places it calls it Prisbul, but here it doesn't. It would. The original one would not.
Even
And then you have a source
to the Rishonim,
about
it's anyways
Prisbul.
the same tash.
Wait, let me
Moses
ask
Torah
you. I don't
Prisbul.
understand.
Anyways,
According to
yeah.
us,
Nicht
How
alle.
Rabbi
should,
Yonasan.
it, how should it be
What do you mean?
by
Both
all
of
other
Moshe
places that
Torah
that was the real
Kijk
thing
in
yeah?
Yeah.
It's een
Why is
van
it called
Talmud of
principle
Gittin, of the
that
Sigis,
Moses
the
Torah
Zayim,
is
the
the
Chilikim,
If it's
the
title, the right to be
Ja, ja,
over,
Sag Rishonim halten ze nicht.
it doesn't have to do with the wording I'm giving over.
Ich mein's
What is with the giving
It's
over?
called the
Mine.
Prusbul
Moses
in Mishnah
Torah doesn't do
Ksubis
the
and Mishnah
actual
Moed
thing.
Katan.
But this is the
Clearly.
soter, the meaning of I'm giving
Nicht
over.
nur
It's called
das ich
Prusbul
meine.
because that's the name of the thing.
So I'm saying, why is it the name of the thing?
Because like the Ateke,
What?
like the Ateke, right?
Yeah, but why
Another Greek
what's the
word.
name of that thing? What's the name of that thing? If you can explain that the original meaning was to
Why
be
did
able to
Hillel
be
name
gover,
it
like a
the-
drachte, yeah?
Why did
It
Hillel
doesn't-
name
a
it the Greek
drachte,
word?
a drachte means that I have this. I'm already in the collection stage.
Right.
What does the collection stage have to do with Moshe Torah? There's no
I'm
shaykhs.
saying it's Egyptian
Yeah.
process.
That's the process.
Yeah,
That's the
that-
process that they use
Yeah,
to
what?
authorize the
It
collection.
existed separately.
But that's the process there that this star means that now you can go collect.
Yes.
He'll brought in
no.
the Egyptian law.
No,
and
in the
Israel.
Egyptian thing, it's not I go collect. The Egyptian thing, this is the principle. We know that this is a principle. We know it's not that you could go collect. That's not the meaning.
No,
of
that doesn't
thing.
mean
No.
go collect.
But that's what you have to
In the
do.
Egyptian thing, it means they found two dots, yeah, that was mismach between the chayav and
What is that, Henschke's article?
No, this is Dr. Rad Milim Yevanim.
Ah, shy.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
say, it means what is it? It's between the noisha and the chayav. What's the document there?
You have there's a 4-part process to execute on loans. I think this is the second or the third part of the process.
Okay.
And you get a piece of paper that lets you then go to the chayav and you say,
It's similar today. Before you go to the sheriff, you need
Why
to
is it
go
called
and
Moses?
get the
Exactly.
judgment.
Yeah, why is
But
it
I
called
have a
Moses
question.
Torah? Why is it called Moses Torah?
because of the wording of the shtar prospala
So why is it called
moser ani, because that way you become the
You become an
notion, the
agent.
Balchov,
You become an agent of the
He
Bezin.
becomes an agent of the
court's
Bezin.
permission.
That's the
It's
first
force.
Because the Bezin can collect. Kannst du mir geben noch potato chips?
So here is what I'm trying to say. Okay, there is an early prosbul, which is
An adoption of the
a
Egyptian.
name of a document that everyone in the area
Was familiar
uses.
with, yeah.
The Mishnah says the guy who invented this document.
Not invented, he brought it in because Hill didn't name his invention a Greek word.
Oh, he could have named it a Greek word. Why not?
Yeah, but it's a joke. Everybody's familiar with this term. It's like saying today,
Hillel brought it in.
Hill invented foreclosure. It doesn't go like that. Foreclosure is a
If
process.
Stalin could invent the helicopter, then Hillel could invent the
Yeah, but
prosbul. It's all good.
we could just say Hill brought it in. Hill brought in this common
Yes,
process of
yeah.
foreclosure to the Jewish
Yes,
state.
Hillel made this takana, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what is a
He adopted
takana?
the takana.
What is a takana in this thinking, right? A takana is making something better, and Hillel made the
Yeah.
prosbul. Okay, great. But what's a takana in Mishnah Shvi'is? A takana in Mishnah Shvi'is is something stronger. It means somehow that because of this new situation, that a certain kind of rabbi can see, then under certain circumstances, which we don't really know, a part of the Torah can be set aside, can be walked around, can be suspended, can be abrogated. There are all these fancy words, right? But this is the prosbul in Mishnah Shvi'is is a very different animal from the other prosbul in Mishnah. Okay, so
It's the same thing, just the tkon is different.
yes. And that's my first claim here. Okay, my first claim is in Mishnah Shvi'is something else is going on that is not going on in the rest of the Mishnah's mentions of principle. Yes.
I like this
No,
theory.
I'm assuming the Marmakam is going to make this speak about it. It's also an extreme. It's one of the most extreme cases because it's that this thing that it says anybody that thinks that Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't a businessman, it's saying that you're being. It says here that you're questioning Moshe's intelligence. The problem of Rabbis is questioning Moshe's intelligence. You're trying to like go against that, and this says yeah. You could even go against that. And all from then till the Mechab and Shulchan Aruch, always playing with those words.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that is close with the Rabbis, is close with Moshe Rabbeinu.
Right.
But
wait, maybe we can read the Tosefta in Bava
It's one
Metzia.
extreme thing. Is like
And
not
then-
just he's doing at kuna. He's going at kuna where the guy says, "Listen, whoever thinks about such a kuna is like a pekalidus." It's like it's.
I just wanted
It's one of the points.
to build on what you're saying to make sure we understand. The Mishnah in Shvi says as follows: Moshe Rabbeinu pointed out a problem. He said, "I know this is going to be a problem, and I'm giving you tochacha now to prevent the problem." Then 1,000 years later, Hillel comes and says, "There is a problem. I see the problem. Moshe Rabbeinu did not have a solution to the problem. I, however, do have a solution to the problem."
The problem didn't exist yet when I showed that.
No, Moshe Rabbeinu says there's going to be a problem. He says he's shamer lechap
So
and
why don't we go back to that?
He says there's going to be a problem. You're not going to lend money to your friend.
What is the Havamina? What was the Moshe Rabbeinu's Havamina?
Moshe
We're going to
Rabbeinu's-
borrow money and not get paid back?
Moshe, that is exactly the halach.
That's what it says.
That's the document. No, there's got to be
No,
something
it's
more
called
to it. There's gotta be more to it.
This is the tzedakah, no?
Okay.
Well, you're going to get it back. You cannot collect it.
Why can't you say?
I know that that's also a very weird thing, right? That you're allowed
You're allowed if somebody
with
comes.
ribbis,
You're
right?
not allowed.
If I lend you $100 and you come back to me and you say,
So
"I love you, you're a wonderful guy. Here's $100 and take 10 more as a present," right? That's usher. But if you do that on Motzei Shvis, suddenly that's all okay. And you know what? You can also give up.
This is what
You
the
can
Torah
pay the
says
loan by
later.
yourself, right?
Right, you're
Yeah?
allowed to.
Zed dvar Shemitah, right? You have to say
Mishamet
Mishamet, but Zed
Yeah.
dvar Shemitah. Okay, great, no problem. So there is a situation that came up that Hillel saw that Moshe Rabbeinu did not see, and Hillel was able. He had the authority and the power to suspend, right?
Can I ask you something? Shalom Aleichem, you're wondering how if Moshe didn't see it,
Moshe did see it.
Didn't have a solution.
but he does also the whole notion of Shviz. God said they didn't keep it. Torah comes and says, wants, expect, demands, and we don't do it. Moshe maybe also expected, demanded, saw it's a problem. So
Yeah, no, I agree, right? It's very, very strange, right?
nevertheless, he goes ahead and he.
And Hillel nevertheless goes ahead. Okay, so this is
I
Hillel.
think it's not an equivalency to Moshe Rabbeinu to Hillel, because in Moshe Rabbeinu he's giving money for the uni to make a living, and that's what the Rabbis is the same seeking over
Okay.
there. And by Hillel it's already business, so it's a very different
You can say,
situation.
but that's right. That itself is really similar to what the Mishnah is saying, right?
Yeah.
There is a new Metzias.
The new Mitzvah.
There's a new Metzias
The Torah didn't
that
say.
the Moshe Rabbeinu did not see, right?
There was no business loans yet. Clearly, the Torah doesn't speak
So
about this.
nonetheless,
I
the
mean-
Semel should still exist. So we're doing some, in such a
Yes,
circumstance, we're
yes.
doing a walk around.
I'm not sure if the Metzias is correct that there were no business loans, but let's assume the
That's
Mishnah thinks
Neshech
that.
is like taking out of the bread, and Tarbas is adding
Yeah.
other bread to it.
Yeah.
It's like-
I-
you-
yeah.
I heard it from you.
Yeah, no, but
Sure.
I think there are business loans. Baruch Hashem, the first documents we have in cuneiform before people wrote stories, they wrote business loans. They were
How long?
borrowing and
5,000
lending
years?
money and buying each other's wheat next year and doing all sorts of
They didn't have a
like
problem with it.
futures. Oh, they had all the ribbis in the world.
How many years ago?
Exactly.
But
5,000
if you're
years.
correct, the only reason is because the Metzias changed, that they can make the Tkuna like this.
No,
if it's a business loan, then it's
The
not Meshamet.
Metzias changing. Wait, I want to talk about the Metzias changing. Where in the Torah does it say,
To measure it.
right, that if the Metzias change, you can change? You cannot. That's crazy. And why am I? I'm not. It's not my invention that it's crazy that if the Metzias change, the Torah does not change. It's a Tosefta says. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yossi bo re'eh kama samyut enehem shel malvei ribit. Why is it lifnei iver to lend at interest? Because people who lend at interest are blind. How are they blind? אדם קורא את חברו עובד עבודה זרה, הוא מגלה עריות, ושופך דמים, הוא מבקש שיפול עמו לחייו, right? If I said to any one of you that you were a murderer, you were a fornicator, and I would be asking for trouble, and you would get people to come beat me up, or you would beat me up yourselves, right? I would be asking for trouble, that's מבקש שיפול עמו לחייו. And this guy, הלך, מביא את הלבלה, ואת הקולמוס, ואת הדיו, ואת השטר, ואת העדים, ואומר בואו וכתבו עליו, that is עליי, right? שאין לו חלק במי שפקד על הריבית. Right? Now, that's a shtar. That's a nusach of a shtar. אין לי חלק. Right? That's השטר הסתלקות. וכותב, ומעלה בארכי, which is the archive. It's the same word. וכופר במי שאמר והיה העולם. הלמדת שמלווי ריבית כופרים בעיקר. Okay, great. And רבי שמעון בן לזר אומר, יתר על מה שהם מרוויחים, הם מתחייבים. Whatever money you make in money, you lose in averas. Shehen osim et Torah plaster, should be plaston, which means false, right? Like plastic. It's the same. It's the same etymology as plastic. Ve'et Moshe tipesh. Okay, and now here's the part where I really want you to listen. Ve'omrim ilu haya Moshe yodea shekach marvichim lo haya kotev. Okay.
Circumstances change.
The people who say if Moshe Rabbeinu had known about business loans, the Torah would have been different, right? They are the Kofrim because they say Moshe is stupid. Okay? I'm no one take offense at this, okay? This is not me, this is the Tosefta.
No one take offense, and also maybe it's a part of the rhetorics to say, you know.
It's part of
They're aware of the argument.
They're aware of the argument, and they know that's the part of being masher this argument. But it's by saying no one should think that Moshe didn't.
Moshe was not tipesh, right? And the money lenders, the people who lend with ribbis, they're the ones who make Moshe tipesh. Okay, great. Why was Moshe, according to the money lenders, according to the Baalei Averas, why is Moshe tipesh? Moshe is tipesh because he did not see. He should have seen something.
The development of commerce, how it's going to happen.
He should have seen the Metzias change. He should have
didn't
seen.
understand business. It seems
He could have not. He didn't. He didn't understand business.
What's the tips? There was no business yet in the world.
He didn't. He couldn't figure something out.
Ahead of time.
Okay.
Today tips.
And if Moshe had been able to figure out this thing,
He would have allowed business loans.
the law would have been different. How it would have been different, I don't know. They don't say.
That's a very silly question. I thought that the
Ah,
Torah
yes.
was God's word. So you're saying Moshe.
Why is it? No, it's part of their avera, of the Baalei Averas. You're right, right? In Chazal, it is a pretty strong hashkafa that the Torah is God, right? And when they quote psukim, they say Rahmana Amar, right? And Rahmana is definitely God. It's not Moshe, it's not the Torah. Rahmana is God, like the Muslims say, right? Allah Rahman Rahim, that's Rahmana. So it's God, and the Torah is all God. It's not Moshe, and you're not allowed to say, right? That even Moshe wrote, right? Mipi atzmo. That is all true, and so when the Tosefta has the money lenders calling Moshe a tipesh, that's part of their avera, right? Because part of their avera is not just that they're kofrim be'ikar because they think the Torah is wrong, but they're kofrim be'ikar because they think the Torah is human,
By
right?
saying cluster, that's what it means.
That it's not God. It's not God. It's Moshe.
Right. That's part of the trick.
That's
Right.
what saying
It's
cluster
two levels.
means.
First you
Moshe
make it
speaking his own
plaster,
name.
then you make
I'm not. I think that I think
ascribing it to
Torah
Moshe.
plaston is a different part of the argument, but we can talk about that. So we have two sources.
Okay.
One of them says, once upon a time there was a mitzvah in the Torah that was in conflict with another mitzvah in the Torah, and we had a big rabbi who had so much power he was able to make the troublesome part of the Torah go away and solve it and make life better for everyone. And then we have another source that says, if you think that someone has the ability to change things, right, and that if the lawgiver, if the Torah had seen this problem, it would have solved it, and so now we should solve it, that's kfirah. Okay, so how do you resolve these two sources? Yes.
I think that the only way you resolve it is by saying that you can change it. If you could say you could change it, that's a problem. After the same rabbi that changed it, they scream and say, don't think Moshe didn't know. Then you can change it. When the Oiberchuch from university comes in and he says, no, not you, I'm saying, he said, oh, the rabbis, Moshe didn't know, and that time wasn't that economy. That this kind of people can change stuff. But if the same rabbis are going to say the nisach, the siyach, the safa is Moshe knew everything. Oh, if the same people they could already say, but principle works different than it goes. But I think they need to introduce here the real reason why you're changing it. It's
So wait.
only a nisach how to say it.
Yes, but wait, I don't think it's a nisach how to say it. I think these are two.
They believe it even.
These are
I think they
two
even believe it.
Two different approaches.
two different approaches. But two different responses to a Torah of Aristotle.
Could you,
Yes.
Could you just relate, because we're speaking about Prisbal and just why is Prisbal and
Ribbis
related?
Prusbul says
Atheistic.
Prusbul says in a certain point in time, we saw that there were two mitzvahs that couldn't live together, right? And this is a new thing that Hillel saw. And he was able to set aside one of the mitzvahs and keep going with the other mitzvah by this tool of Prusbul. And then you have other people saying, why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu see that this was a problem? Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu see that you could make so much money? And why can't we set something aside, right?
It's more than that. It's related
isn't-
more. I thought
isn't
you wanted
the
it related
difference
more.
No, we didn't say more.
Oh, it's
The
not
difference-
related
the
more.
difference is
both of them
obvious.
that loans.
One at a time.
No, just what I'm asking. Are you relating it more that both of them are the subject? That loans is what makes the world go around.
That's true that loans is what makes the world go
Therefore,
around.
Ribbis and Shmita are both things that should be. Ribbis should be accepted, and Shmita should. It's part of the same. That's what I
I think what's actually going on is that Ribbis is good and Shemitah is bad, and for Chazal, Ribbis is good and Shemitah is bad, and that's how they resolve it. But that's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying there are two different approaches to this idea that you can see a problem with the Torah. One approach is if you're a big enough chacham, if you're a big enough rabbi,
You can change it.
You can change it. And the other approach is if you're a big enough jackass, right, then you're a kofar and you'll go straight to hell.
Why isn't the difference obvious?
The difference is because these people are jackass because they
They're-
say that Moshe doesn't know.
Okay.
And these people don't say that. They don't say that Moshe didn't know. He knew.
The Tosefta doesn't say that they said that. The
They don't
Tosefta actually
say. They don't have to
saying,
say.
if you're doing it, that's
The
what you'll
Tosefta
actually
is
say.
not. You
You're the
can't.
ones who say.
The Mishnah. What are you going to say? There's two shittot in Chazal how
Yes.
to approach it.
Oh, yes.
It doesn't make sense that the Tosefta is not. It's not going to be cholek on Prismal. It's not. It's not mistake.
I don't know the Tosefta because the
Prismal is
Tosefta.
too unknown thing.
I think the difference
to say
is
that
obvious. There's a clash of two mitzvahs.
Why don't you?
The Tosefta doesn't say Prusbul doesn't work. Okay, the Tosefta is offering a different approach.
What I'm saying, why don't you see it as the Tosefta says it? I'm saying it's not the Tochen, it's the people who say that. Yeah,
It
it's someone
could be.
that comes with a nusach that I think it's a very good digma. If we come with the nusach Hilazok and Hiskim, someone that he comes out of the Torah exactly how we don't know, but he comes from there.
coming from
We're
yeshiva.
okay with that. Once he comes out from Kizot Moshe as a plaster, then we have a big problem.
What I don't
I say a lot
want.
of changes the Maskino we accept.
No. What I don't want to say, because I think it's too easy. What I don't want to say is, this is a conversation about who gets to make decisions, right? I don't like that. I think that's not fun.
Not everything that we don't. Not everything that we don't like doesn't mean. That
Yeah, but I think it's an easy out. But
Okay.
yes,
I have I need
Really,
respect
ich muss sagen,
that how did the
I'll give
Prisbal,
it.
Nein, man muss also.
how did the Prisbal work when you went from enforcement in the court to get maybe the Mishnah in Shvius is just quoting you what you did when you did the Prisbal. And the Mishnah said, if you're already up to that stage of enforcement that you already have the Prisbal,
Yes.
that's when it's not much.
That's-
You told me
yes.
it's a trick. Maybe the trick was much
no.
harder.
I think that's I think that the
So
original
the
Mishnah.
Mishnah Shvius is the same.
It's like
exhibit.
a oinus
Yeah,
on
same
top.
as what we
Yes,
No,
that's
he's
what
not saying that.
No, that's what I'm saying. And then
When
Then-
which part was added as a
here,
trick?
from the words, זה אחד מן הדברים שראה שנמנעו
No, I want to say to you, let's assume principle is the word for closure.
Okay.
Judgment of foreclosure is not mashmid.
Right.
As you know, you need a judgment of foreclosure to enforce a debt because Hill was masakin gewein.
Okay.
And what does it say in a judgment of foreclosure? Say, give it a principle.
Okay.
Therefore, it's not nashama.
No, but why was it? The reason the reason that they give for Hillel's takana
It's the Shemalachu.
Shemalachu is a reason why Hill said that you need judgment enforcement.
Oh, I would like that. That would be interesting. That's an interesting svara. I have to think about that more.
That's the hiskeme, but taking the oil.
That would make me.
Yeah, very good. Because otherwise, if there's no way of collecting,
No, but he
I'm
says it's
saying
not
that.
specific
he's
about
saying
Shemitah.
it's
I like
talking
that.
about collections.
It works well for what I want to say.
I want to ask you. I see another big difference between Shemitah and Shemitah. The problem was, according to the Mishnah, that people didn't lend money,
Okay.
right? So he had to make a solution that people should lend
There was a
money.
clash between two
In
mitzvahs.
Ribbas, the problem was fakir. On the other side, people lend money, but they took ribbas.
But they took ribbas.
So he couldn't make a solution that they should lend. The problem was people. Okay, you're schutzim. You're taking ribbas. What can he do?
No, you could.
He doesn't have an interest to make him not a shaygetz.
You could make a takana that you can somehow. I don't know. Then you find
People
a
are
way.
still lending money. The tikkun oilam is here. People are still doing business. Okay, you're a shaygetz. He has no
Yeah,
interest
the
in making you
distance
not a
is
shaygetz.
Ah,
Yes,
he's
no,
okay
he's
with
making
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I see.
Here he has a problem.
I
There's
think
no
the
tikkun
Mishnah-
oilam.
I
The
think-
word
I
branch
think
don't
the
hold.
difference is
Okay, so he has
obvious.
to make it kuna.
I like. I'm interested. This is all very good. But here is my chiddush. Okay, my chiddush is, I think, Aristotle in his book, his famous book, the Nicomachean Ethics, about ethics. Book 5 in this chibur is about what is just, what is right. Okay, and anyone ever use Microsoft Word here?
Yeah.
Yes, you know what the function is, what you call it when you straighten out the words to fill out the whole page?
A line.
It's called justify.
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 Just means straight. Okay, keep that also in your back pocket.
Balance.
Aristotle has a chiddush. He says there are two kinds of justice. Okay, there's justice that is the justice of the law. Okay, and then there is the justice of the good.
Natural.
Epiekea. Something that is fitting. Okay, that turned into, in English legal talk, it turned into the law, and then there's equity. Okay? There are courts of equity in England. They solve cases differently. They're not bound to the law. They're not bound to the laws of evidence. They can pull things out of a hat because their job is to solve problems for the side specifically in an equitable way according to the justice that is fitting to them.
Like arbitration here.
A little bit like arbitration, right? Where the arbiter can say, look, the law says that you don't have to pay, but I think that really what you should do, right? In your case, this is what has to happen. And Aristotle says, why do we have equity? He says laws are universal. Whenever the law makes a universal pronouncement, but things turn out in a particular case, contrary to the universal rule, on those occasions it is correct where there is an omission by the lawgiver, nomo thetes, the lawgiver. This is what Philo calls Moshe Rabbeinu, the lawgiver, always, like hundreds of times. And he has gone wrong by having made an unqualified pronouncement, right? He made a big bombastic law.
He made a rule.
He made a general rule, and the general rule does not apply in these cases. Wait, so you should rectify the deficiency by reference to what the lawgiver would have said if he had been there. Ilu haya Moshe yodea, lo haya kotev. Right? And that's exactly what Aristotle says. There are times when the law has a problem, when the law has a deficiency, not because it's bad and not because it's wrong. It's a very good law for most cases. Because laws, as Rambam says, laws are, because Rambam read Aristotle, laws are for general cases. Okay? And when the law has a shortcoming, which laws do, says Aristotle, and this is something I think Chazal have a problem with, but Aristotle says laws sometimes have shortcomings. What do you do? You say,
You make an exception.
I think I'm trying to channel the mind of the lawgiver into my own head and do what the lawgiver would have said if he had known. Okay? Hillel in Mishnah Shvius is doing what the lawgiver says if he had known. Okay? And the Kofrim in Tosefta Bavnetzia are saying, why not do what the lawgiver would have said if he had known? Right? If you're not doing it, then, right, and Chazal say this is calling Moshe a tipesh. It's not calling Moshe a tipesh. It's saying, Moshe made Moshe emes, Torah emes, law is good, law is amazing, but in this case, because of the nature of the law, right? So they're not necessarily kofrim. There is a way of making them not kofrim, but the Tosefta is saying, if you're saying that, that's kfir.
But a judge can
The Mishnah and the Mishnah is
a
chalek on
normal,
this.
an ordinary person cannot do it.
Aha! So that is one answer, right? And that's what people have been saying. That is one answer, and I think the other answer is to say, no, we don't do things like that. Not rabbis and not anybody else, because trying to do something like that is denying the divinity of the Torah and saying it's a mistake that Moshe Rabbeinu made.
It's not a mistake. We're saying
It's
allowed.
an oversight.
Yeah.
It's an oversight. Okay, now what do you call this?
But we're saying that the
Yeah,
Tosefta
because
is
constitutional
chalek
law
on the
is the same
Mishnah.
debate,
The Mishnah,
it's not all-
Tosefta would be chalek on the.
I don't think that. I think that Tosefta agrees that Pruzbul is real,
Okay.
but I think these are two different approaches.
But how is it real if you didn't Tosefta?
Wait, I just-
Either Yadayim Moshe.
these are two different approaches to the question of can you fix the Torah?
Isn't the
And the
difference?
One
Tosefta-
approach is the
One
Tosefta's
of
approach
the
is
Tosefta's approach is no,
You can't.
but Pruzbul we don't know.
Pruzbul.
No, but
Pruzbul is an outlier. Pruzbul is something else. Pruzbul is an exception. I don't know what they would say. I'm not.
Isn't
them.
the difference obvious?
Wait, one
second,
One thing.
The Tosefta, Pruzbul is something else, but in general, right? No.
Can't do it.
And the Mishnah in Shvius, just in Shvius, might say, no, there are takanas that can suspend some laws in the Torah. Maybe yes, maybe no.
Now, why does it
I don't
have
know why
to
making
be?
such a why do you have to say
Why does it have to be two
Why can't it be the
approaches?
same approach? It's just one approach is a little bit more hiddenly. I don't know why you have to make
No,
it
Why?
okay.
Wait, but what I
Why
want to say
isn't
is
there
more
a simple
important for
answer?
me.
The simple answer is in the Mishnah and Shvius we have there's one of the mitzvahs are going to have to go away. Are going to happen anyway. Tosefta is not talking about the same thing.
Yes.
So when one thing is going to fall by the wayside, we have to come in and at least take our pick. One thing's going to fall away, so let's get involved. Tosefta doesn't have to happen.
I mean, but again, the
Moshe Rabbeinu know of
Tosefta,
that.
the Tosefta wants to present.
Yes, but but it's not as important. If the Tosefta knew about this, but when it's obvious, we have two mitzvahs. Both cannot exist.
They can.
No, it can't, because one is going to officially not exist, and the other one is unofficially not going to exist. But
Why?
one of them
you
are going.
lend money and then you don't take it back. Here, I have both mitzvahs.
But that's not happening. But that's
Oh,
not happening.
Okay.
That's called an avera.
True.
Okay. Wait, the important part for me, I don't care if it's the rhetoric or not. If it's the power of the rabbi or not.
The title of the shir was
Can
there's
rabbis
two
fix the Torah? Okay.
two approaches.
Okay.
So you can't establish for the second approach. First approach we have Ilya Yadaya, that Aristotle, that we can say the Mishnah, yeah. That Moshe is talking on the klal, but we have particular protein that forget someone that's oimed the
Okay.
kavanas haTorah. The other approach is this is possible to say such an approach, yeah. But it's still masking the principle, but you're not going to explain it how is it going to work.
I don't know
So
if
if
they're
you're on
masking the
an
principle.
approach, so you can't say that you have two approaches. You have one approach, the other approach, we don't know exactly what their approach would be. So maybe it's only like, I'm saying, you didn't establish what the other approach
Here
is.
is my strong answer. You want my strong answer? I think that the Tosefta does not necessarily know
About
the Pruzbul in Mishnah Shvius. If it's that late. I don't know if they know. I don't know if they're masking to it. I don't know if they have to be masking to it. Do they agree that Pruzbul ain't no mishamet? Sure. But do they think it's because Hillel came and made this fake document that we can sign Erev Shvius and make all our debts go away? No. Okay, but the important thing is, what is this thing called, says Aristotle? It's called a straightening of the law.
Justice.
Ep an o thoma.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, not in this text, but these are two Greek words that I need you to remember. Okay, so the first one is epan or thoma, which is easy to remember because it's like Orthodox. Okay? Epan or thoma. Okay? Epan or thoma, it makes
Straight.
a straightening. Okay? And how do you do it? You have a law. A law is called nomos, right? We know this. These are the nimosot. A law is called a nomos. But then you have little laws, you have corrective laws, you have decisions, and these decisions are named after the little psephoi that you use to vote on them in the assembly. Okay, and they're called psephisma. Okay, a psephisma is a way of correcting the law, a way of straightening the law. Epan or thoma.
It has to do with pacifism?
Psephos is like
Oh,
psiphos. A little pebble.
Yeah.
A pebble is called psephos, and you vote. The way you vote in Athens
Like a petek.
is everyone puts a little psephos in an urn, and then they count the urns. So you count the psephos,
Is petek
right?
related? Petek is related?
Petek is not. It's another Greek word called pitakia. But we'll see it. And all these things just incidentally happen to have been in Daf Yomi in the last 3 days. Okay. So what's takana? Hillel hitkin lapuzbul.
It makes straight
Straighten
the
out,
floor.
straighten out.
Oh.
So that
Straighten
the
out.
opposite of takan is an Aramaic root. Okay, it's not very common in Tanakh. It actually only appears in the book of Kohelet. And the best way to see what takan means, right? We see in Kohelet muvat
That's muvat.
lo yuchal itkon. So it's the opposite, right? Takan is to straighten,
Correct.
right? Re'eh et ma'aseh Elohim ki mi yuchal letaken et asher ivto. But also takana is just to make things. Right? David b'chol libo, says Ben Sira, b'chol libo ahav oseu, uv'chol something something, niginot shir ichin lo, v'kol metziltaim probably, v'nevel mitzlalim, who knows, tiken kol mizmor hanaim. So David,
It's related to Teken with the kaf.
it is related to tiken with a kaf, yes. But that is also,
Makunto.
that also means to measure. In Targum,
To organize.
in Targum, the Hebrew root kaf vav nun, echin, is almost always translated atken. And this idea that tikkun, okay, is somehow straightening, you see it really, really nicely at Qumran. Do you want to talk about Qumran? On the shores of the Dead Sea,
Yeah, we know.
community of crazy weirdos had a very specific reading of the Torah. They left wherever they were living.
We don't call. We're in Borough Park here. We don't call for that.
No, that even crazier.
They didn't go to the
Oh,
bathroom.
come on,
Shabbos.
yes.
They didn't go to the bathroom on Shabbos. So.
They make the starkest Hasidim look.
Left to it.
And in order to, they had a very pessimistic understanding of human nature, and their belief was that only the Kadosh Baruch Hu could save people from being who they are. And so in one of their prayers called the Hodayot, which is mostly about that, right? They write Vani Yetzer Chomer Megubal b'mayim mivne afar velev ha'even lemי נחשבתי על זאת, right? כי probably אתה תיקנת באוזן עפר ונהיות עולם חכות בלב האבן. Right? So תיקנת באוזן עפר, you took my ear and you used it to straighten me the afar. Right? That's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu does. And in the same way, in a letter called Miktzat Maaseh Torah, which is really, it's a very interesting document, It's not written in biblical Hebrew.
It's also from
written-
Qumran?
It's also from Qumran. It's written in conversational Hebrew. Sounds a lot like the Mishnah. If anyone remembers the argument at the end of Mishnah Yadayim, Omrim Paroshim Kovlim Anachnu Alechem Tzedukim, there are a lot of parallels between that list of controversies between Prushim and Tzdukim and this document. Miktzat Maaseh Torah ends, it is a letter, okay, from the group to someone outside the group, probably someone closer to Chazal, explaining all of the positions of the group on different matters of halacha. We think that when you pour the water that is tahor to something that is tameh, then the tumah goes up, and you think that it's not. It's exactly like the Mishnah Yadayim.
Where's the word tikkun here? I'm sorry.
Where זכור את אביו, שהוא איש חסדים, ואף הוא מוצל מצרות רבות ונסלוח לו. Okay, remember, you can, even though you are going to hell, my audience, remember David, who was ish chasadim, and because he asked the Kadosh Baruch Hu, he got saved. ואף כתבנו אנחנו אליך מקצת מעשה התורה, שחשבנו לטוב לך, שראינו עמך עורמה, ומדע תורה. We saw that you were a smart person. In the theology of Qumran, stupid people could not belong to the group. Okay, and the curse for the people outside the group was that they would be stupid. Okay? הבן באלה, ובקש מלפניו שיתקן את עצתך. והרחק ממך מחשבת רע, בשל שתשמח באחרית העת, במוצאך מדברנו כן, straight. ונחשב לך לצדקה, בעשותך הישר לפניו, לטוב לך ולישראל. So we see the connection between Qumran, between tikkun, right? תקן את עצתך, make your mind straight, and are things straight, דברנו כן, and then what do you do? ועשית הישר והטוב. And these are all, for the writer in the 1st century BCE, these are all related concepts.
It's just something out of the blue, but there is one of their tefillos now. This is they're very busy. Kamas Living Sabbath. There's a famous tefillah that they speak about standing under God. They speak about the pusik Living Sabbath. Just recently, I read from the Sion. You know thing about?
I don't know, but I don't have like major Kias in it. But
they have like that thing that they're
that's
standing
so cool.
below flat. Recently, Kamas Living Sabbath. There's a tefillah for. They say the Friday night tefillah or something that they daven.
There's a Friday night prayer from the Qumran.
There's a Shabbos tefillah. That they think
there's a Shabbos
tefillah.
So we have this idea that tikkun is straightening. Okay, that's what I'm getting at
Streamlining?
here. What?
Streamlining.
Straightening. Okay, there was something crooked, me'uvas, and it became metuka. Okay, and this idea that takan means straight keeps going in Chazal, right? We have in Mishnah Shvis, כדרך שאין מקלקלין ברשות הרבים, כך לא יתקנו. Right? הבונה גדר בינו ובין רשות הרבים מותר להעמיק עד הסלע. מה יעשה באפר? Right? Because you're not allowed to do any agricultural work. צוברו ברשות הרבים ומתקנו. What does that mean? Straighten it out. Okay?
Get a bulldozer.
אלו הם ציצין המעכבים את המילה, etc., etc., ואם היה בעל בשר, מתקנו מפני מראית העין. Right? Again, takan means straighten. By the way, this is also, I think, the meaning of tikkun gadol in Mishnah Sukkah. במוצאי יום טוב, source י"ט, במוצאי יום טוב ראשון שלך, ירדו לעזרת נשים, ומתקנים שם תיקון גדול. Right? And the Yerushalmi says, my tikkun gadol. And then they say, on the next page, right, it's Sukkah and Yerushalmi, מה תיקון היו עושים שם? היו מעמידים האנשים בפני עצמם והאנשים בפני עצמם, why? כאיד דתנינן תמן למשנה מידות. וחלקה היה בראשונה והקיפו הגזוזת רע שהאנשים רואות מלמעלה והאנשים מלמטה. This is the source, right, that we see in the poskim for the mechitza and the shul. It might be the source.
Where's the straightening?
What?
Where's the straightening?
מתקנים שם תיקון גדול.
So what did
The Mishnah in Sukkah, I think the pshat,
the
means you go down to Ezras Hanashim, right, and you straighten out, you make sure that when a lot of people come in, it won't get all dusty, right, it won't be dirty, you take out all the pebbles, that's Metakanim Shantikun Gadol. what did the Yerushalmi and the Bavli, what did the Talmuds do? The Talmuds saw that in Mishnah Midot, right, there was something that was Barishonah, and then they changed it. And they know from other places in the Mishnah that when something is one way, Barishonah, and then it gets changed, what's that called? Takana! Okay, great. So Tikkun Gadol, they took Tikkun Gadol from Mishnah Sukkah, and they took Barishonah from Mishnah Midot. They put it together, they made a story.
But why would straightening, cleaning the Zur be called Tikkun Gadol? Why would it be called Tikkun Gadol?
A big cleaning. No, a big cleaning. You do a big cleaning.
Thorough cleaning.
You do a
deep
thorough
clean, a deep
No,
clean.
but I think that
Why they make Pesach?
it was a big
big event.
project. But I think that is the pshat meaning of Tikkun Gadol.
It's also by
I
Or
can
Miklat,
say-
no?
What?
By Or Miklat, it also say Hiskin Derech, no?
Tachin.
Ah,
Tachin lechader.
I can
Mission
say
is
that the
Haskell,
straightening was
Frozen,
the straightened down the genders. It shouldn't get mixed up.
That's.
That I can also say.
I don't think that there was no mechitza in the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, I think the pshat of Tikkun Gadol is they straighten out the earth, and we see this also in a letter in source Yud Zayin. Tikkun Gadol, I
A
think
big cleaning.
a big cleaning. I think
cleaning.
I think what it means. We see it in a letter written by.
That's a very popular You don't have to say that in order to say tikkun.
What I
Just
need to
thrown as
say is that tikkun means straighten.
Right, but it
And
can
here's
be-
a whole bunch of
It
sources.
can be straighten out the Ivas Adin. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to be.
that's all
straighten out.
great.
But say that, no?
In a letter written by Bar Kochva, we have letters
Yeah.
that Bar Kochva wrote. We also have legal documents. We have a bunch of loans also.
Shabbos stuff.
So here is a letter by Bar Kochva, source Yud Zayin, Mishimon leYoshua ben Gilgula Shalom. Shimon, Bar Kochva.
Himself.
Yeah. שתשלח תביא 5 קורין חיטין something לביתי אצלך בדעת ותתקן להם מקום פנוי יהיו בו אצלך תשבת. Okay?
See you on Shabbos.
יהיו בו אצלך תשבת. And he writes, instead of writing et hashabat, he writes tashabat, like Israelis speak. Chazo im yachpetzu lavo. Shabbat hazo im yachpetzu lavo. Okay, so the wheat will be there for Shabbos. Ve'yitchazek v'chazek tam makom.
Where's that?
Source Yud
Oh, I see.
Ve'yitchazek v'chazek tam makom. Okay, so תתקן להן מקום פנוי ותחזק tam makom.
Slang.
He writes in slang.
So what does Tataken mean?
Tetaken means, I think, straighten out the ground, okay? Take out all the pebbles,
Prepare a nice.
make it straightened for wheat, and also it means prepare, yes.
How does he have to tell him Tataken? He doesn't know how to store things.
He writes all sorts of things. I don't know why he decides to write it that way, but apparently when you write letters,
Yeah.
he has another great letter where he says, Tavit lulavim.
Yeah. That's so good.
ולא אעשה לך כמו שעשיתי לבן אפלול.
What did he do to him?
I don't know. I think he put אתן את הכבלים ברגליכם.
You don't want to try.
אתן את הכבלים ברגליכם
You
כמו
don't want to take
שעשיתי.
take
He
a
needed
chance.
money, and then he was polite and said, "I'll see you on
Shalom,
Shabbos."
yeah.
Basically.
So the important thing here is that we see that takan means to straighten. Okay, and it's important for me to show that because of that Greek word. Okay, epan or thoma. Right, that sometimes there is a place where the law is crooked,
And you have
where
to
the law does not fit. Okay, and the job of the dayan in every generation is to straighten out the law. Okay, it's to do an epan or thoma for the law, and I think that is what takana sometimes means. Because in most cases, what does takana mean? Most cases, takana means to make or to prepare.
But the way it's used, we are the orthodox and they are the conservatives, is the other way around.
They're fine. That's a different discussion. Okay, so why, and now, why do I say this? Why am I so strong about this? Because of, and this is really cool. If you look at sources Kaf Vav Kaf Zayin, I want to talk a little bit about Tadmo also because for the schus of the Syrian people who are going through an interesting time in their history. Once upon a time, Syria was the center of the civilized world.
They destroyed.
They did. It's destroyed.
Sure.
Once upon a time, Syria was the center of the world, and it was a border province in the Roman Empire. A big chunk of the Roman army was there. There were a few Roman emperors who came from Syria, and there was until very recently a city in the desert in Syria called Tadmur in Arabic, or Palmyra in Greek and Latin, because of the palm trees. And they had, if you get on the Metro North and you go to New Haven, you can see many statues and inscriptions from the culture that made Tadmor. They had an interesting Greco-Aramaic culture. They were a Roman city, and the official languages of the city were Aramaic, Babylonian Aramaic, and Greek. At a certain point, the city became so strong that they formed their own kingdom, which may or may not have run the Roman Empire for a while. They were in a complex relationship with the rest of the Roman Empire, but for a while in their heads they were Roman citizens with the Roman emperor running them. And they controlled a good chunk of the northeastern part of the Roman Empire.
What year is this? What decade?
This is the 2nd century CE. So right around the time that the Mishnah is being created. And I want to read 2 inscriptions from Palmyra, which I promise is relevant. Okay? So here's one. It's an inscription on the bottom of a statue. But you don't need me to tell you that because you understand the words. Tzlam. Tzlam.
Icon.
Aramit. Tzlam. Tzlam Septimius Odenat. Mlach Malche. Umetaknana di Medincha Kula. Okay? Metaknana di Medincha Kula.
Straightens out the whole country.
This is, yes, whole east. Not Medinta, Medincha.
Septimius.
Ze Hatzelem. Ze Ha.
This is the statue.
This is, right, Septimius Odenat Mlach Malche.
What Septimius means 7?
His
No,
name
no,
is
his
Septimius
name.
Odenat.
Oh,
That's his
it's a
name.
name. Okay.
Yeah. Which is it's a Latin
known-
name,
It's a
Septimius.
known person.
It's a known
Yeah.
person. In Latin sources, he's called Odenathus.
Oh, yeah.
And who made this? Septimia Zavda, Rav Chela Rabba, Vezabai, Rav Chela, Dita Dumo Kratista. That's a Greek word, it means really strong. Okay? Akim Lemarehon, Birach Av,
But what does it
Bishnat
mean?
582.
Help us understand what is
So here I'll translate it into English. This is the statue of Septimius Odenathus, King of Kings, and the Metaknana of the entire East.
picture.
Constructed by Septimius Zavda, the great master of the soldiers, and Zabai, the master of the soldiers of the most strong city of Tadmor.
The one who buys and sells the most soldiers, it seems.
No, Zavda is just their
The
name.
master.
Oh, Zavda is not like Zavda, it means like
Like
buying?
No, Zavda is their name.
Like the
Septimius
Zavda from the
Zavda.
General of the
It's the
Chayla.
caption under the
It's the caption at the bottom of the statue.
Describing
I
I
looked
got
for
it,
the
I got it,
picture
I
of the
got it.
statue, couldn't find the picture of the statue, so you'll have to believe me that there was a statue.
Disatma Christas is
Kratesta, really strong.
Is it
Like-
related to
Akim
Christian?
Lemarehon, they erected for their Lord, right?
Is it related to Christian or it's a
No,
different word?
It's
not related at
Kartas,
all.
not Karsat.
Okay.
Christos is with a chi.
Right here.
Krates, which is the C in democracy, right?
Word.
Yeah.
That's strong. It's with a kappa.
Oh, it means the
Metaknana
masses.
is ambiguous here. It's not definitive.
What?
Stated. Metaknana di Medancha.
Wait. I agree with you. It's not anything. People, scholars of Palmyra are like, we don't know what metaknana is. We've never seen it. It's an Aramaic word. It means takan. Yes, we know. So we looked
Maybe
at
he
the
built
Aramaic
bridges.
dictionaries,
In which language is
and
this
it means
written
to
originally?
straighten. This is Aramaic. This was written in Aramaic. This is the
This
way
a
they found it.
translation of this.
This is it.
The letters they used is in Hebrew.
It's if you work a little bit, you can see why it's the same letters. It's like it's a very weird font.
It's Ashurus, right?
It's Ashurus, yes.
It's Assyrian. Yeah.
Yes. It's the same.
We took our alphabet from them.
It's, we are heirs to the
Right.
Aramaic
Assyrian.
documentary tradition, and we all share the same alphabet.
Right.
No one is better than anybody else. Okay, now this is all good and all fun, but then in the next generation, there is another inscription, which is this time it happens to be a milestone. Okay, a milestone. It's a stone on the side of the road. It tells you how many miles to the town. Okay, al chayoy uzchutei di Septimius Wahabalat. Okay, that's Septimius Odenat's son.
Wow.
Septimius Wahabalat. Alat is the feminine version of Allah, whom we know, the famous one. And Wahab is like Yav. Okay, like Matanel. Right? If he were a Hebrew speaking person, his name would be Matanya or Matanel or Matitya. Okay, that's Wabalat. Wabalat od Ethandros Nehira. Okay, the illustrious, which is also a calque of a Greek word, Mlach Malche, the king of kings. So it's the same title. It's the son of the previous guy, but this time they don't write Metaknana. This time they decide to go fancy. Ve'epanorthota di medincha kula. Okay, so now we know. Now we can say
He's straightening out the roads.
he is the corrector, the restorer, the straightener. These are all.
It's as a milestone, so it's on the side of a road.
No, it's not because of
Road,
that.
yeah.
That's the title.
Doesn't mean Dafka Road.
He's like a Lord of the Isles, King of Kings, Defender of the Faith.
Yeah.
Look, you want? I'll read through all of
Defender
it,
of the realm.
and you'll
Keep
see,
going.
and you'll see the functional part. Okay. Al chayoy v'zchut edi Septimius wabalat intadaros nehira melach malche ve'epanotot edi menicha kula bar Septimius odenach melach malche ve'al chayei di Septimia bat Zabai nehirta malketa ime dimlach malche bat Antiochus. Okay, all of that is the boilerplate. 1014. Okay, mile. 14.
14, yeah.
That's the important part. The important part is the last two
14.
words. You have to read all the way down. Okay, but by the time you get to
Like
the
in
end,
North Korea, you know, everything is. They talk about.
I don't know. I came through the Battery Tunnel and I saw like Excelsior 100 times, the name of the governor on every building.
Same thing.
It's exactly the same.
Which is Antiochus? Is that
His-
It's einig.
This is what Shem Bechut said. They did it. They did it.
He was
No,
a
it's not
rabbi-
the same.
He was a rabbi.
Antiochus is a very famous name for important people
Yeah.
in the area.
The Greek, the Romans also used
Everyone,
Antiochus?
yes,
They
it's
were
a
the
Greek.
pro-Yuchas and the anti.
It's a Greek name, and this is Zabai, and Septimia bat Zabai is Zenobia, is Queen Zenobia, who became famous. She's in the Talmud also.
She's in the Talmud. Zenobia?
Yes, I forget where, but she's in the Talmud. Zenobia, I think in the Yerushalmi.
Megillah?
Anyway, the point is, Metaknana di Medincha Kula and Epanothota di Medincha Kula are the same thing. Right? The same person holding the same position, a few years apart, father and son. One of them called himself Metaknana, and the other called himself Epanothota.
And their claim to fame was they managed to fix these injustices.
They are.
Maybe this is,
Fixers.
It's apparently it's a Roman title. It's the fixer.
Is it really? Because it sounds to me very
So-
Persian and very Persian. Or
So,
very,
so the people who
Wasn't
study
it right outside? It seems like that same type of language. The king,
the King of Kings,
the king
yeah.
of kings that fixed everything, that he did it from here to
So
there.
the people
It
who
seems like
study
Cyrus-
Palmyra say that it's a translation
It's
of a
all
Roman
based on
title.
Game of
I
Thrones.
don't. It's not a hill I need to die on. What I care about is that Metaknana and
I hear you.
Epanothota
That's what-
are the same thing. That's the important part. And
No, because there's a big fight about the thing that they write about Cyrus, if it means that he's the person that codified the law, or if he fixed the law. There's like a big debate about
yes,
that. That's why I'm
no,
wondering
but Netaken.
if the word takan is also there. Like,
So
it's-
Maybe this is what
it
it
means.
means,
It means straightener in the widest sense possible. Who else is a straightener? Kadosh Baruch Hu is a straightener.
Listen, they say that Joseph was a ruler. A ruler is a straightener.
Yes.
That's the joke they used to say.
No, but I think that
ruler
that
means
is that. It's the same. It's the same metaphor.
A ruler straightens up to that.
The same metaphor of right, making things straight and right and just, right? And how do you do that? You use a ruler, right? It's all there. You use the rule. Who's the person who lays down the rule? The ruler is the person. It's all. These metaphors of straightening and building are very, very fundamental.
This thing about that tefillah.
Yes.
They used to make it the other way around. I see the tefillah actually. There's one word in there that I thought means this, but they say that rik, medir the Assyrians, they use the word rik. They use, according to this guy's translation, that things are woven means they're intelligent when they're woven well.
Sophisticated.
I'll show you the tefillah.
But I think that takuna here means straightening. When you go to all these big Persian capital cities, one of the big things they did was straighten out the whole area.
Straighten out the roads.
It's all straight, beautiful.
Okay.
Whilst they looked at people who lived in urban areas. I'm saying takuna means taka straight, plain straight, because that's what they excelled in. They
say you're straighten out road, not miles.
We're talking about in the jet.
So I want to go from there.
So in Saklen Sadrucha means this.
The taknim et hadrachim is that, but I want to go one step further and say we know who does tikkun. Okay, the Kodesh Baruch Hu does tikkun.
By the way, Tom, I think that the letter from Bar Kochba that he said that means to straighten out for the Tvuah.
Yeah.
That's why it's in the Mishnah in Shabbos.
Right. Okay.
And the Gemara explains only 4 and not more, because then you're going to straighten out.
Because then you're going to lash megumot. Oh, very nice.
And he's saying, prepare me 5. It's not allowed.
You know, this is Bakoch.
Oh, that's
Machavin to the Mishnah. It's Machavin to the Mishnah.
I think that it's like the Mishnah is like what you're allowed to do in Shabbat. Bakoch says, give me 5.
Before Shabbat.
Before Shabbat.
Okay, so the metaknana, the big metaknana, in the metaknana of the whole East in Palmyra is the king. In Chazal and also in the Targum, no, it's the Kodesh Baruch Hu.
Yeah, but the Kodesh Baruch Hu through Basil Vasham.
Wait. This is really important. The famous source on Tikkun HaOlam, Misha Chetzio Eved v'Chetzio Ben Chorin, they quote a pasuk there. I'll read the Mishnah and then we'll read the pasuk. Misha Chetzio Eved v'Chetzio Ben Chorin עובד את רבו יום אחד ואת עצמו יום אחד. דברי בית הלל. אמרו להם בית שמאי, תיקנתם את רבו ואת עצמו לא תיקנתם. לשא שפחה אי אפשר שכבר חציו בן חורין, בת חורין אי אפשר שכבר חציו עבד. ייבטל, והלא לא נברא העולם, אלא לפריה ורבייה, שנאמר, לא תוהו ברעה, לשבת יצרה. אלא מפני תיקון העולם, כופין את רבו ועושה אותו בן חורין, וכותב שטר על חצי דמיו, וחזו בית הלל להורות כדברי בית שמאי. Okay, why does that pasuk make... How does that pasuk connect to what we're trying to say?
Because he can't
Wait.
procreate.
Look at the Targum. Chazal hear every pasuk with the Targum. Just like you all hear it in Yiddish. Arei kidnan emar Adonai dibra shmaya hu Elohim. Deshechlel ara ve'avada hu atkena. La lereikanu bera elahen leasga'a ala bnei nasha atkena. להשגה עלה בני נשה עד כנה, לשבת יצרה. Okay? אנא אדוני ולתו. So when they quote this pasuk, they're not saying the world is not meant to be empty, it is a good thing. They're saying the Kadosh Baruch Hu did tikkun for the world.
How?
To make a lot of people in it, and you are preventing the creation of many people in the world, right? You're actively blocking God's work.
Not necessarily tikkun straight, just in general.
Just in general.
Here doesn't mean straight.
No.
Here it does not mean straight. Here it just means to make or to prepare. Yes, it's a straighten
But
up.
I use the same metaphor.
Straightened in a metaphorical way, right? Now, that God is the metaken of the world is not only in Chazal and not
But
only
in the
the
Mishnah it
Targum.
can mean straight, right? In the Mishnah, you
Tikantem et atzmo?
Yeah.
In a metaphorical way, yeah.
Yeah, you straighten him out.
Or
He has a path forward. He doesn't have a path forward.
Right, or you corrected him, right? You gave him you solved his problems, right? Or you did not solve his problem. Which, by the way, what's terutz mean? Means the straight.
Solution.
Taritz means the straight.
It comes from charitz, like from.
No, not from charitz.
From what?
From taritz. Roots, I think. I think that's the root.
The shoyish of takana is all three takan, or is it?
That's how it's arrived. Tafkuf nun. Yeah. Hitkin, that the act of creation of the world being takan is also in a papyrus, Birkas Hamazon, found in very close to Palmyra in Dura Europos, which is a border town on the border of the Roman and Persian empires. We know exactly when it was destroyed because the people of the town filled up their houses with dirt and left in the year 256. There's a beautiful, beautiful shul that was found there with frescoes from all of Tanakh.
Even Esther.
All of the city of Dura Europos went to New Haven, except for the shul. The shul is in Damascus. Pray for the shul.
When you say to New Haven, what do you mean by
It's in the
New
Yale
Haven,
University
Connecticut.
Art Gallery.
Oh, it's there.
It's there. You can go. It's free.
Really?
If you want,
Statues are
a
there.
nice outing with your kids.
This statue, Septimus' statue, is
Yes, and the papyrus is also there. Oh, Septimius, Palmyra, no, but Dura, yes, and there's a lot of Palmyrene culture in Dura. The Goyim were Palmyrenes. They spoke Palmyrene. They had the same.
They have statues
the
there.
same gods. They have statues. They have a lot of funeral statues that all say Chaval at the end. It's very cute. No, they say the name of the person,
Chaval.
and the last word is Chaval, and that's Chaval Davdin. Anyway, from this Birkas Hamazon, which is very, very old, because we know the date, we don't have any Birkas Hamazon that's older than this.
This is Mishnah time?
From the time of the Mishnah, Baruch
Was
X
83
Melech HaOlam, that's what they wrote.
Baruch X.
X.
X is, they didn't want to say Hashem, or
They
X
probably
has a
didn't want to
certain
write Hashem, but Baruch X.
I think X has a meaning to
Christian
itself.
scholars who saw the X were like, "Oh my God, it's a cross." They were very happy. No, but it's Baruch X. Baruch Ata Hashem Melech HaOlam Asher something Chalak Mazon Hitkin Michya, right? Prepared food. In the Sephardi Birkat Hamazon, Hitkin Michya Mazon Lechol B'yotav Asher Bara. This is a use of hitkin that just means to prepare, and it's something that God does. Okay? So most of the takanas in the Mishnah are that kind of takana. Boring takana. You make something better. You make something improved. And in doing that, you become a partner or an emulator, right? A shutaf of the original matkin, right? The guy who made the world.
But that's not the later Tikkunas. Hiskar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is totally different.
There are some hitkin Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai's which are like the takana of Hillel, but a lot of them are like this takana. He enacted, he told people to do it. Barishona ya lita lulav b'mikdash shiv'a v'b'medina yom echad mishacharav bet hamikdash hitkin Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai. Did he change anything? Did he mevatel something? Did he make? Was it an epan or thoma of the Torah?
It's a modifier for the.
But he didn't straighten anything out.
He just
wanted to shift the whatever was done in the Beis Hamikdash. He wanted to shift to the.
That's right. He made something better. I think that would be the accurate translation of hitkin there. And that helps us understand that if we understand that most of the takanos in the Mishnah are just that kind of takana, right? Misha chetzio eved v'chetzio ben cholin. Right? Is there part of the Torah that is being set aside? No, there's a procedure, right?
Okay.
There's a procedure that we're making. Right? Mipnei tikuna olam kofim et rabo. We have a procedure now.
It's not moments like that.
Okay.
Koifnus Rabbo is something. It's like
like Hefker Beis and Hefker.
It's taking away money from him, basically by he's not. It's only
You're not taking away, right? You're not taking away any money from him. Even the money you care about, you make sure that he gets the money because
okay. But normally also we're not Meshacher Avodim because it's Isur. Okay.
That's true.
Isur,
But in this case, we're making you do that.
Yeah. But everything you could say like that, every tikkun you're gonna say it's not.
Except
because ala rov yedaber, you're gonna say it's not the follow the Torah.
yes, except for one. What's the one takana?
What?
Prusbul.
Why? You could say the same thing. The Torah didn't speak of a chav when it's an amatzav, there's a prisbul. That's really what they're saying.
Because but in Prusbul you say Hillel saw that there was a problem.
Yeah.
It was a real problem, and he made it takana.
Right.
Right. In the other takanos, we rarely see that.
What about the allusion the Gemara later, Hiskini, like Mishrabi, lawyers, and Hiskini
Right.
Shalo Yahai, that you shouldn't be trusting?
Lo yu mikablim ela min hamakirin,
Which is
right?
again saying Namunas from the Torah, Hiskini.
There are a lot of things
that
that
the
are
Gemara
mus-
uses this language as if like now that's a problem, it doesn't work anymore. Hiskini Shalo Mekablam.
Yeah, I think most of those. That's just my reading. I think most of those are they made. I think Hitkin should just be read they made. If
It
you
comes after something happened, after Mishrabi,
but there's nothing strong that came before.
Uh-huh.
Right? Nothing gets no law. The Hitkinu is the Hitkinu that people should.
we don't trust the Shvi anymore.
I think in modern language we also use salal as like a metaphor for tikkunos.
Well, we do that,
Salal
yes.
at derech.
Yes, we do that.
We do the same thing,
Yes.
which also is like.
What's the word salal? Like, probably
Same
Greek,
thing.
right?
It's
No,
it's
salal is
pavement.
solu hamsila. It's an individual.
Putting down a railway.
V'amar solu solu panu derech
It's like a
harim
silam. It's like a
mikol
silam, probably. Silam, it's about
Off the
from a
topic
ladder
to say,
straight.
I was wondering in this Bertus Muslim they have.
Oh, that
the
makes sense that
Lev
Silam
Asaf
has the
and
same.
Iman. What
Those?
Silam may have the same.
It's
Maybe,
just
I don't know.
look. Here's how
I'm
we
just wondering how
How
the
did that-
Muslims
Imagine-
with the piece of meat.
imagine you have piece of paper. Okay, you
Silam,
take a
not
bencher
Chumash.
and you rip it, and you only have the right side of the bencher. This is what it is. It's the right side of a bencher. Now you can imagine what the words are because you know benching, right? Baruch Hashem Melech Haolam Asher Chalak Mazon Nitkin Michya Lechol maybe Bnei Basar Behema Chaya Ve'of Yatzar Adam Le'echol Mehem. Right? You need if you use some bracha language, you can fill it out. That's a game people
So they're
like to
bringing
play.
meat and chickens into the picture.
No, he's saying no.
Behema Chaya.
So he gives
Basar-
food
no.
for people
And to the animals. Oh, not
to
the.
the animals.
I did that, or you eat
Either that.
Yatzar Adam Le'echol Mehem.
That you can eat. That you
Maybe-
can eat
maybe
meat.
it's
But we
because
don't
Muslim-
have that now, so I didn't
No,
get
we
into
don't.
the idea of
No.
meat, that's what threw me.
No, but there are other
Nuschal.
nusachim of
That
Birkas
does
Hamazon
have that?
that have that.
They
Yeah.
have basar.
That are specific for different kinds of food. There's a bunch for wine that are really pretty. So I want to say one more thing about psifisma, which is also takana. Okay, and this is from Daf Yomi. I thought it was really cool. So the word psifisma means decree of the council, and it's used for secondary legislation, things like an executive order in federal law, right, where you have acts of Congress that is primary legislation, then you have the president who can muck around and tell agencies what to do, that's secondary legislation. Okay, so that's a psifisma. But I think in one place, the word takana means psifisma,
Secondary legislation.
but not in the sense of takana, changing the law, but in the sense of having a lottery, okay, back to the real sense of putting little pieces of stone in a pot. Okay, and why do I say that? Sifrei Bamidbar, וישארו שני אנשים במחנה, was in Daf Yomi, I think 2 days ago. יש אומרים בקלפי נשתיירו. לפי שאמר לו הקודש למשה לבור לו 70 זקנים. אמר לו משה, מה אני עושה? הרי הם נופלים 6 ו6 לכל שבט ושבט, ו5 ו5 לשני שבטים. איזה שבט מקבל עליו לבור ממנו 5? עשה משה תקנה, or in better manuscript, דבר תקנה. נטל פתקים וכתב עליהם זקן, ונטל 2 פתקים חלקים, ובללם והטילם לתוך קלפה. Another Greek word, by the way. פתק and kalpeh are both Greek
It's
words.
also the math didn't work, so you have to straighten it out.
No, but it's
Straightening
not.
out the math.
It's even cooler
It's cooler.
because
Yeah,
רגע, אמר להם בואו
And
ותלו
in Greek, it's the
פתקיכם.
same purpose.
The word psephizma also means lottery. Pu hu hagoral is translated in Targum Hashivim psephizma. So when they say takana, they don't mean takana of the law, and they don't mean takana of the Metzias. They mean takana psephizma.
Which is a takana.
It's called
It's a straightening
it's
out
called
of a
it's
problem.
called
It's a
the
solution.
phenomenon in linguistics is called a calque. When you have one word that translates another word, and then it just sticks with it, no matter what the meaning of the word is.
It adopts.
It just adopts. It's that you have an equivalence of takana is psephizma, and so all of the meanings of psephizma, even the ones that don't mean takana, okay,
could be prescribed
psephizma
as
means
takana.
secondary legislation, and it means lottery. Why? Because in Greek it makes sense, right? Because these are both things that are done with little stones, psephoi. That's all great in Greek. Then you translate it back into Hebrew, takana, right? Now it doesn't make sense at all. Okay, עשה משה דבר תקנה, נטל פתקים, כתב עליהם זקן, etc., etc., etc. And the same thing at בריאה שלושה, אמר משה, מה אני אעשה? כל אחד אומר פתעני לוי, עשה משה תקנה. And what did he do? He ran a lottery. Lottery means psephizma. Psephizma means lottery, and so the meaning psephizma carried over, and that's what they
In
use.
this vein, I want to
But
say the
why,
same
why do you
thing.
think he's right? Takana means every time you solve a
Yes,
problem.
yes, that is true, and I think that's why it
Who's the
works
Moshe
here.
fixed?
But
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. That's that shot. I think the thing is the only time
So one time.
they use dvar takana in Midrash Halacha is for these lotteries. They don't use
In
dvar
this
takana
vein,
for anything else
Professor, I want to
except
add,
for the
like,
lotteries.
maybe in the same vein, prosbo with a U and a O means the same thing, because when you give over the debt to Bezdin, it's like when you give it over to the referee to do enforcement. You also, even today, before they enforce a judgment, they appoint a referee. He is the executioner, so he has the debt in his hand. So maybe that's giving over to the council, and it's also the same way. It's like two words that were combined.
Oh
the
yeah,
same
I think it helps a lot, right? It helps a lot that
Sounds like you've done
for the
This is
Hebrew
your-
speakers.
This is your chiddush, right? I mean,
What?
that
What,
that
the
lottery,
psephizma?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's very solution.
Yeah.
It helps a lot that for people who speak Hebrew, prosbul and prusbul
No,
is
but-
the same word. They hear it the same.
O and U, but in the same sense here means the same
I-
execution.
yeah, I-
Most
yes.
Danish tutors, and it's the
Yes,
referee.
yes.
Okay, so
Okay,
but you
I
made
think-
it sound like it's two different meaning. It comes together as one.
If, as a linguist,
Yeah.
as someone trying to tell you where the word comes from,
Same as
It's two different.
It's two different meanings, but it means one thing today. The
But we
enforcement
adopted
of,
it in one
and
language.
then
now we
and
didn't.
then it gets and then the
the
yes.
same way. What did you call it before? Yeah.
Calc.
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 It's
But I
calc.
think there is something stronger because I love to always use like whatever you just flip a coin. There are problems that the solution is flip a coin is draw a lottery.
That's
That
true.
straightens the
No,
problem.
it's a real takana, right? I agree with what
That's
you're saying.
really- that's the
that
flow that-
with even without psephizma, you can understand this shot perfectly fine. I think now that we know that psephizma means lottery, and psephizma means correcting the law, and we know that takana is psephizma.
So we have it all in one.
Today
word.
English means one.
We know, so it somehow comes together. So here are my takeaways. In most of Chazal, takanot, I think, are solutions. They're corrections of a broken mitzias, of a broken world. Just like the Kadosh Baruch Hu took Tohu Vavohu and made a beautiful world.
Tikkun olam.
That's Tikkun Olam.
Taken shovel.
And then we have two outlier sources that may or may not be in conflict.
Okay.
May or may not be in conflict. One of them says there are sometimes cases where there is a problem with the Torah, and a rabbi can be mitaken the Torah, just like in Aristotle.
Tikkun sovel.
That's my chiddush. Just like in Aristotle, a rabbi can be mitaken the
Why
Torah.
they add the Rambam? The Rambam also writes that it's lo yemola that even divine law should have
Cover
problems.
everything.
Okay?
Okay, and you want to say that the other guy represents against that, but you're not representing. So what does he do? So
No, I don't know what they do.
Okay,
And
okay.
the other position is
We don't touch it.
even saying something like that,
Say,
Heretical.
even suggesting something like
kefira.
that is kfir.
but not doing.
I don't. What the relationship is, okay, between Mishnah Shvis and Tosefta Bava Metzia, I don't know. One day,
We're gonna
Be'ezer
find-
Hashem will get Chias Amesim, and we can ask them.
Or we'll find
We
another
can ask
successful.
Hillel what he meant. But until that happens, what we see here, really, I think what's really interesting is we have Aristotle, right, from the 3rd century, the 4th century BCE, very, very old, getting into the bloodstream of
Of the time.
all the people who live in the Near East, and they think in the same ways, and they say, oh, we have laws,
But we have
and we can
problems.
fix them. There's psephisma, there's epanorthoma, there's straightening. We like this, we hate this, right? Chazal are able to say, at the same time, this idea of fixing the law is very agreeable to us, and also, this idea of fixing the law is terrible in Kfirah. Okay? But what's really cool for me is that they use the same words and the same terms and even the same logic, right? Ilu haya Moshe yodea.
Beautiful.
That's lifted straight out of
Aristotle.
to make up Safisma. We do what the lawmaker would have done if he had been there. That's my take.
But now, when you started, you said, did Chazal really change so many things, or we won't only find in one place? I don't think that because in only one place it's mentioned with the name B'Shem, that means that only there is takana. I think there's a lot of other places that they didn't call it takana, but there was a takana. And this is a part of the Tosefta here that not always you call it takana.
That's right.
And that's why I think it's only one dugma that we have an old nusach, and then they were not scared to write takana. Later is already they're not calling it takana, but to say that proves the only dugma that you can find the Chazal of this thing that they're fixing the Torah.
Oh, no.
The other places
Chazal fixed
takana
it.
that you mentioned.
Baruch Hashem. Chazal know how to change accepted practice in
They're not-
many different
even
ways.
if they don't call it takana, I'm saying.
But I don't think that's what takana is for most of the time. I think there's changes.
You're saying a lot of the takanot are not against the Torah, it's just takanot to make better.
Yeah,
But
and-
that's true.
and then we
but
can-
not every takanah, but there's a lot of takanot that we call better. What the Rambam calls takanat gzeirot and menagot, they really come with a change. And this that the Chazal only mentioned here doesn't mean that this is the only takanah that they have in their.
When we look at Chazal from the outside, we see a lot of places.
Exactly.
Right? When we look at Chazal from the outside, we see a lot of places where it doesn't seem like they're doing what everyone had been doing until then. It seems that they're doing new and
Innovations.
exciting things.
Innovations is not bad.
And you're responding.
But
They
you
seem,
change.
You're
they
responding
seem to be
and-
doing
and-
new and exciting things, and that's good. That's fine.
No,
And it can
exciting
be-
is different than change.
One second.
It's a very
No,
big
no.
difference. Tremendous
My
difference.
question is, if you knocked on their door and said, "Hello, Chazal, are you reform? Are you changing things?"
No.
Definitely, we're not changing.
No, because as you can
We
say, we
are-
go after kavanat mechaber.
No, we are going back to the Torah. That is one thing they could have said. We are upholding the minhagim of our parents. That's another thing they could have said.
That's a very
We
interesting
are
question.
we have chidushim in our reading of the Torah. That's a third thing they would have said.
Right.
But what I think they almost would never say, except here, we are very, very strong, and we can do whatever we want.
I'm not saying that.
I know they're not saying that. That's what I think is important to
Wait a second,
remember.
can you elaborate on that? Because obviously the
Over
later
Mekacha,
the later Maruam did not see them, did not understand the Drush's Chazal the way you would read it into the original Tanuam, right?
You said they
So
weren't
where's the
radical.
language changing?
What's the language there?
They weren't radical.
No, the
Why do you
Amoraim,
say that?
the
What?
Gemara will
They don't
sometimes
understand what
ask.
Amit
Right?
understands?
No.
The Gemara will sometimes ask
Wait a
mi
second. Wait a
idi,
second.
mi ika midi.
Yeah.
Right? Midoraita
I want
masham
to get the point
tashvi.
across.
Right? V'takinu rabanan de
One
lati.
second, but I got interrupted. I'm trying to ask.
Okay.
You know, the people that made the original Drushas Chazal,
Yes.
they knew that they're inventing it. Like they bring out new Drushas, right? But they were Toilal Ilon Gudel, and they said, okay, we have it Kabbalah, right? Someone made a first Drusha and said it's really like a heritage, right? Later on, they would say, everything, this is what the original intent was given over like that. what were the original peoples that made drushas say? We were reformers, like you said?
Doing a drusha, right? The cool thing about doing a drusha is that you find it in the words.
That's not that I know.
That's
But what are they saying? I'm making it up.
No,
I
that's
want to
the
reform,
word.
so I'm
It's
putting it in.
philological.
It's the word.
The
No,
Alshich
but sometimes
says
it doesn't
all
even
these
make
Irish
sense. I'll
shows
think
are
they
words.
say
The
today
Alshich
they have a
writes.
drusha.
Then it's
You have to have a
Kabbalah.
heritage for it.
No, it's language. It's all language.
I have a good
The Alshich
Kabbalah.
writes. The Alshich writes almost all drushas
I
are
think
explaining the words.
The Torah is a carbon and shave. How can you stand the tachlis in the Torah? And that's why I think that this is the feeling what the Torah would have said now. Finish. Moshe would have said it like that now. I think that they felt like that. They felt they're not going against the Torah because they're saying what a Torah.
Because they're
The roots
saying
in the Torah. The roots in the
Torah.
Torah.
Hillel is 1,500 years after Moshe.
Right.
Why didn't somebody before him innovate it? Unless you want to say it's
Who said before him was someone that?
No, it's not.
Isn't this similar to Torah Leb Shemayim?
A little bit. So
I mean, we are no the owners, and we decide what the Torah means.
Maar er ook niet de Torah van de
There's also come from Musu
archive.
It's always like you want to pin it down as
Today's
this
lecture
is like
didn't
part of the
cover
tradition that you're not
didn't
changing.
cover this question about do they change or not.
No.
You just highlighted one place
Two.
where that subject
Two places.
is
I highlighted two
places
places.
where there's that subject.
Yeah.
This-
That's
this-
a big discussion. It's a big discussion.
Chazal weren't
Every
radical
second sheet.
changes of the Torah. They sincerely understood.
No, because
They
he
sincerely
said he's
understood
gonna
it.
cover it.
It's
No,
Verschneide.
now, but
It's a big zwei
I think this is not the point. The point is really to bring it out.
They never said
And
that they
then
were
there is
radical, and they never even thought to themselves what they're doing is radical. They thought they're doing sensible things. Most of the times it's within the language.
Is it possible, Professor, in your understanding that Mishnah Hai, Vov Zion, and that Paidik is unrelated really to the Prisbal, the way we read it? It was the original intent of the word Prisbal?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yes, I think so.
And also Vov Zion, I call
Yes.
it Prisbal Ela La Karka.
Yes, it's all the original.
Has
version.
nothing to do with
Prisbal
Shemitah.
stuff, nothing to do with Shemitah. Because the
Not about
Mishnah
Shemitah.
used the word
But
Prisbal
why
here.
would-
It's all the halachas of Prisbal. They're here
No,
because
why-
By the way,
Listen, you're saying a very big thing. You're saying that
But
all these
Mishnah
halachas
Aleph-
that we applied to the Prisbal really was intended to something
it's not the
else.
Prisbal. It's yes.
No,
That
but
is
Mishnah
not my
Beis
case. That
is
is
talking
that
about
is
a
a case
relationship.
that is a wonderful article, almost the only academic article written by
Louis Ginsburg.
Rabbi Dr. David Bigman, Rosh Yeshiva at Malay Gilboa. That's his chiddush.
What's his name?
David Bigman.
David Pigman.
That's why that-
Liechtenstein's Talmud?
Instant Shai Haman doesn't mean you bring this parish of Brisbane. It means all the
Because he didn't read Bigman.
I thought he said Ginsburg said
Big-
Kiddush.
Ginsburg says the etymology,
And Bigman.
and Bigman fleshes it out.
He brings
So
four
that-
options on this war. Doesn't bring this option at all.
Shai Haman's did
Yeah.
not. He didn't do a good job on this.
And what's the
I want to leave you. Here's an example. Okay, if you want to see how you can be, in your mind, a big, enormous conservative, and be very committed to the words of a text, and get a big chiddush out of it. I just want to make you all think for a minute about Antonin Scalia, Justice Antonin Scalia,
Marbury versus Matters.
who for the first time in 200 years looked at the Second Amendment to the Constitution and looked very closely and carefully and considered all the words, and with his Ruach HaKodesh said there is an individual right to own a gun.
Right.
Nobody had thought that before. I'm not being political, right? Nobody had thought that before. But Scalia saw the words, and his new innovative reading of the words,
Which words? The words from
the right from the
Right to
Constitution,
bear arms shall not be infringed
a
upon.
well-regulated militia being necessary for the protection of a free state.
That's called the text. Only have the meaning of the reader. The reader writes. He saw it in the text.
But
He thought like that.
But here is the chiddush.
The Chiddush is that he doesn't believe in intent.
Yeah.
He's very against intent.
He doesn't even know. He doesn't even
He
know.
wrote books against intent.
I know, but he doesn't even know.
He
doesn't even have that. He
the
covered
Torah
this
Shema
gap.
principle.
So
Right,
if
but
I am, the ability of Chazal to be innovative readers of the Torah may actually be connected to their emunah
Of Nitzchias.
that they weren't doing anything new. Okay? And it's very, very interesting to see, and I am not a proponent of conservative legal thinking or textualism in modern constitutional law. That is not my hashkafa, but it's really interesting to see the ability of even today, the ability of a reader to say, I'm just
Because I
reading
think there's the
words.
third aspect of this conversation, that the conservatives, they come up with, from Marbury versus Madison, that they have this perverted, not perverted, they have this way of saying that we don't look at intent, we never correct. We don't look at intent, we look at meaning. So they come up with this word meaning, that's not intent, so we don't have to say, if he would have said this, what did he mean? He would have never changed. What did he mean? That means that we have to take his words b'chol doi v'doi.
Right?
And
the
because his
holiness-
word has to be true, it has to be true b'chol doi v'doi. So he wouldn't have changed. So that's that.
There and you get
And
right from that
it's
a very interesting hashkafa about how exactly the Torah is, how we are able to find
Khalil believed that even
shatos mischadshim, right, in an Old Testament.